Topo Athletic is committed to lifelong health and better movement. Topo builds running shoes for those who get out there every day regardless of weather, speed, energy, or mood. Their distinctive fit and feel combines instinctive human movement with modern performance and lightweight comfort to help you keep going, keep trying, and keep moving. Discover the Topo difference and step into a run experience unlike any other.
Welcome to our Tuesday Instagram Live Fireside Chats. Super excited about our show today. We're going to have Topo Athletic athletes Show Gray and Anthony Lee joining us, and we're going to talk about being a minority in the world of trail and ultra running. We're also going to be just talking about the appearance of American sports from Show's perspective as a Japanese athlete, born and raised, and lived there until he was 17. But before we get started with them, just want to let you guys know that we have introduced and will be introducing a new exclusive feature through our newsletter where we will be interviewing and talking to Christy Concepcion out of Tampa, who is going to be participating in her first 100-miler. And we're going to be telling her story. She is an accomplished marathon runner as well, and so she's going to be joining the Trails family here real soon. And so to get her story exclusively through our newsletter, go to the link in our bio or just type in runtrimag.com/links, and you'll be able to get to those, be able to get to the newsletter to sign up for that. Super excited to have KCB telling her story through us, since we go way, way back to blogging days, which seems like forever and a day ago. So, hey, perfect timing, Show. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you.
Hey.
Anthony, perfect timing, man. This works like a charm when it works like a charm.
Good, reliable wife.
So I've invited Ohm, so just wait for him to join us too. But one of the things that we want to do to sort of break the ice, and not so much, invite you guys to tell your stories immediately, is just to answer a super simple question that will dictate how good or bad this conversation goes. So, Show, I'm going to ask you first.
Okay.
When it comes to pizza, are you a fan of pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Only if there's ham included.
In which case,
I will take it.
Yes.
Your team, Anthony?
Yeah, I am a big pineapple fan on pizza. I know that you're not, and yeah, we can discuss more.
I'm gonna have to drop out of this interview and let Ohm handle it, since it's now 3-0 in the pineapple category.
Yep, team pineapple.
Yes.
So, Show, introduce yourself to the audience if you don't mind, and then we'll start jumping in on the questions.
Yeah. My name is Show Gray. I'm a Topo athlete. I specialize in ultra marathons. I pretty much enjoy mostly road stuff, but I'm also getting into trails. Born and raised in Japan. I came to America for college, and then I stuck around. I'm half Japanese, I'm half American, and 100% awesome.
Anthony, that's going to be tough to follow up. You mind introducing yourself to the audience?
Wow. Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Lee. I am a Topo sponsored athlete as well, and I am an ultra runner, and I specialize in all disciplines of trail running, 50K, 100K, 100-milers. Yeah, it's great to be here, and yeah, looking forward to this chat.
Awesome. So let me start with you, Anthony. So you're an ultra trail runner, 50K to 100 mile. How did you get started in endurance sports?
Yeah, so Jason, I actually got started back in 2013. This was after a long period of track and cross-country running through my youth, and my sister actually introduced me to a Pacific Northwest trail running group called Rain Shadow Running, and they put on just really awesome run, race, camp vibe events. And yeah, I started with my first 25K, and then I was hooked because yeah, I just love being in the woods. And yeah, now almost 9 years later, yeah, it's been, or actually, yeah, 10 years now I've been in the sport. Yeah, I can say that I've pretty much done all the events, and yeah, I've been just slowly accumulating races.
Awesome. I'm going to come back to the concept of running track. So, Sho, how did you get started in endurance sports then?
Okay, so a long, long time ago. When I was in sixth grade, I did soccer, but my soccer team didn't do so well. And no matter how much I tried, it was a team sport. And so in seventh grade, I decided to join cross country because my little sister was doing it. And so from there, it just came on to cross country. And I was like, you know, if I put more effort into it, I can get better. And by the time I was a senior, I was hooked. And during my senior year, my coach was like, hey, there's a half marathon going on. And I'm like, what's a half marathon? So I ran my first half marathon, and I'm like, wow, this is fun. And after I graduated my first year in college, freshman year, I was like, there's a half, there's got to be a full. So I did that, and then after college, a friend was like, you like running, right? I'm like, yes. He's like, there's this 50-miler in Atlanta. And I'm like, what? And so I joined it. It just, just one thing led to another, and then I just got sucked into this pyramid scheme.
Is a pyramid scheme for sure. Domino
Start
effect.
with a 5K.
Yeah, and it's cheap. Just get yourself a pair of shoes and some shorts.
Hey.
You'll be doing everything, right?
Oh my gosh, that's the scheme. Yeah, you just need a pair of shoes and some shorts.
Yeah, invite a friend, crew you first.
Yeah, that's right. Volunteer, and next thing you know, you're hooked. Anthony, you said you were starting a track. So how did you go from, I'm assuming, short distances on the track to longer distances? Like, what was the appeal?
So as a youth, I was actually very unhealthy. I was actually an obese kid and had some eating problems, dealt with asthma, and yeah, running was a way to get healthy. My older siblings, I have two older siblings that ran cross country and track, and they would get me off the couch. I was kind of that kid in front of a TV screen, and yeah, just eating fast food. So yeah, I used running as an outlet to get healthy, and yeah, I started with the 800, and it was a non-cut sport growing up. And then yeah, seeing just the success that my siblings had, they got recruited, they went to state, and they competed really well, and I just saw that as a really great success. So yeah, I followed in their footsteps, and yeah, from the 800-mile cross country in high school, yeah, I just knew that like if I put in the hard work, it like that weight came off, but also like I felt fulfilled, and it like you do like get out what you put into it, as they say. So yeah, running at a young age was like, it gave me a sense of accomplishment.
And some confidence, right? That, hey, if I can do this, I can do other things too, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
To show you have a different perspective, because if I have the timing right, you did a half marathon and were participating in Japan before you came here to college, and then that's when the light went off and said, if there's a half, there must be a full.
Yes, exactly. So my senior year, I ran my first half marathon. It was actually in Guam for our internationals because we don't have nationals. We have a bunch of international schools competing, but it was my first half marathon. Just ran it.
And then when you came here to the States, you decided that you were going to go to the next level and do the marathon.
Yeah.
When you look at the two cultures, when it comes to sports, when it comes to being in Japan versus being in the United States, what are the differences that you noticed even at that young age?
Well, in Japan, I'd say like running is a lot more popular. It's much more popular, especially what we talked about earlier before the podcast. Every January, like first, second, third, somewhere around there, we have this New Year's Ekiden, which is a relay race, and the top 40 or top 50 of the Japanese colleges get together and race. Day one they have 5 members racing as a relay to the top of the mountain, and then the next day they have 5 racing back down. and it's like a huge thing. It's basically a Super Bowl of running in Japan. And so like that's been like a normal New Year's thing for, I mean, my family. I mean, for most Japanese people, I'd say we'd have like a 35%, 40% people viewing that because that's what we would all watch every New Year's. So totally different.
Totally different is right. Like there's the meme that goes around, right? Imagine dating somebody and then finding out their family runs the 5K for Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's getting circulated here in the States, and meanwhile in Japan, it's clearly that's what you are doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're all like, no, that's just normal, okay?
One of the things that just struck me as you were answering that question, and I knew we were going to touch on this a little earlier, but it kind of just moved me a little bit, is like this group of four is so diverse, right? We have Asians, I'm Hispanic, Puerto Rican, Om is Indian. Like this is, pardon my French, but this is pretty fucking cool to have this much diversity in a conversation. So let's just jump into that now. Like show, you know, in Japan, now here, from a diversity perspective, how far have you seen America come, and how far, you know, where can we go, do you think?
Ooh, that's a very big question.
Yeah.
Super loaded.
And I mean, there's two sides of me that I see because what I call myself is a third culture kid. A third culture kid is basically when your parents might be one or another culture, and you are raised in a different culture, and so you create this mix of cultures, and which is totally different from your parent culture or the culture you're living in. And so, like, I'm totally messed up in that sense, culturally speaking. But I also grew up in the most, I'd say 99% of people in Japan are Japanese. And I mean, we're Asian Japanese kind of thing. And 1% is, you know, everything else. But that's also including Koreans and Chinese and stuff like, and people like that. And so it becomes very, it looks very just Japanese there. However, I also went to a international school. And going to an international school, we had all sorts of people. And so like I have a very different perspective from there because like everybody was from a different place. I had like one of my, you know, best friends that I still talk to this day. He's half Japanese, half Italian. And I have other friends from like a Bulgaria, Canada, America, just so many places, so many people. And so that's kind of the environment I grew up with, just everybody's from a different place. I'm like, oh, we have different cultures. That's normal. And coming to America, it was a very big shift because coming from, like, there's so many Japanese people. So like, where are all the Japanese people? and so, like, you know, like I would tell my sisters at home, I'm like, there's no Japanese people here. It's so weird. I mean, it is. You get off the airplane and all of a sudden you know you're in a different place.
Right.
So like that was a very big shock, and also like the American culture that I thought was American was not true with what, you know, I was taught in school or by my dad, who is the American. And so I had to learn so much, and everything was a shock for me because I could speak English, but culturally speaking, I was not American. I mean, I still have this problem to this day, but now I know what the issue is. And so I can't fault anyone for saying, oh, you speak American English, like Southern American, so you're going to be fine. I'm like, yes, I can, but culturally speaking, I'm very not American. So like, I get that. So like, that's probably the biggest thing, because in Japan, you can probably tell if they look Japanese, they're probably Japanese. In America, you can't tell because you can't by looking at, you know, what their skin color is of what their culture is. You have to actually get to know them, and even then, you might kind of like it's a little bit different.
So Anthony, what are you seeing in terms of diversity in endurance sports, and what would you like to see us do? And I say us because we're a media company and we want to promote diversity. So what do you think media companies or races or even the people at your sponsor at Topo, what can we do to help amplify diversity and actually get people involved?
Yes. So I mean, Topo does an amazing job of including inclusiveness and having a diverse group of athletes, like from different ethnicities, different uh, different groups of just in general. Like we have non-binary, we have really amazing ladies and men on the team, and then yeah, so but like from a media standpoint, like I think it's just highlighting like every athlete. It's not like all these elite athletes. Like I still consider myself like an everyday athlete, and like I can, yeah, like I do have these like talents that I just keep working hard on. But like I think most media and like podcasts or outlets, they just like they see like somebody just doing like the best results, and it's like the white guy or white lady on the like podium, and they don't really get to see the middle or the back of the pack. And you guys do such a wonderful job of like having that diversity. Um, but yeah, I mean, in our ultra endurance races, like you stand up on the start line and you look around. I like for me, maybe Show himself, like he probably sees the crowd just pretty much all white. Maybe another Indian guy, another African American. Yeah, and so like it's really still not enough of us on the start line. And I know these races are getting pretty expensive just now, like, but I think like we, the race organizers can do like some like more, more, more for us. Like they can have like basically like the a diversity or a BIPOC like race part. Like they could give away race entries because yeah, that would help amplify the sport.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So I happen to teach marketing, and one of the things I always talk about is investing in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you were to give away scholarships, for argument's sake, to certain races to get people involved, they'll come back and return that investment, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Pay in it, and so you sacrifice a little margin today for growth down the road and bringing more people in.
Designed for running adventures on a variety of surfaces, the Catula Exo Spikes footwear traction are at home on ice and snow as well as on dry, rocky ground. 12 ultra-durable tungsten carbide spikes provide an impressive amount of grip when you need it and stand up to rocks and other abrasive trail features when you don't. Exo Spikes will inspire you to follow the trail less traveled, even when it's covered in ice. For more information, visit catula.com.
Before we go on to the next question, I just want to reintroduce everybody here. My name is Jason Bahamundi. I'm the founder of Run Try Bike. I'm being joined by co-owner Om Gandhi, as well as Topo athletic athletes Show Gray and Anthony Lee. We have been discussing just things in general in terms of their backgrounds, in terms of the diversity in our endurance sports. If you have questions for them, hit the little question mark on the bottom there, type it in, we'll make sure we address it, or just type it into the comments and we'll make sure that we get it in front of them. Anthony, one of the things you talked about was looking around the starting line and not seeing people that look like you, that are in your same ethnicity. And one of the things you are posting about that I've seen on Twitter is your mental health. And I'm wondering if there's a connection between the two, that if you had somebody that was more in your ethnicity that you could talk to, would that help take the edge off for you because you're no longer feeling isolated in a sense?
Yeah, I would agree in a way that yeah, just not having those similarities. I can't really like I do have that anxiety just like sharing with my peers and not sharing with my peers like what I'm going through because I don't like think that they may be struggling as much. Yeah, so yeah, like even in Boulder, Colorado, I only know like 5 other Asian athletes, and yeah, so the diversity is not that big out here, which is saying something about the sport. So yeah, but yeah, the mental health component, like for myself, like it, like I again through like the youth of like being obese, losing a bunch of weight, yeah, and then going through the whole athletic system, like I developed an eating disorder and that affects me mentally. And then, yeah, just like, yeah, trying to cut weight, binging and purging, that also just really uh, has affected athletics. So yeah, it all goes full circle.
Yeah, and one of the things that we try to do is, take those topics that people try to hide, I guess, and make sure that they're talking about it. So to your point, like I suffer from an eating disorder as well, where my concept of being faster meant I had to be lighter. And so, if you go back through my personal account, you would see plates of food, and that would be the stuff I showed you, right? Like
Mhm.
the stuff I didn't show you was that, quart of ice cream or the food that I was binging on because I was hungry, even though I was starving myself at the same time. So thank you for sharing your mental health struggles, because I think it's important that everybody understands that everybody's going through some sort of stuff, whatever that is. And the more we can talk about it, the better it is for everybody in general. Excuse me.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wanted to, oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. But also just like even with the eating disorder, like that just causes also other issues. Like then like you're just using supplementation and like all these things are quote unquote FDA approved and drugs and like all this other stuff like just to feel better. Um, and yeah, like again with the mental health, I think like as like a most ultra runners have some kind of demon or like vice, and like yes, mine happened to have has been like an eating disorder, and then also just like drugs and alcohol, because yeah, we have that kind of in the sport itself, like someone's trying to use ultra running as a way to like get a grips with things. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, dealing with that also is like just growing up from high school and college, like experimentation and then falling into wrong crowds, for myself at least. Yeah, that's kind of like how, like, not trying to like run away from something, but like run towards something. I think ultra running, like in endurance sports for myself, has definitely opened up a big gateway to like finding out who I am and being able to accept my faults and flaws.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually going to ask you just about that. As somebody who's struggled with an eating disorder and obesity myself, like, thank you for coming out and talking about it, like that takes a lot of initiative and a lot of courage. One of the things that I think is not encapsulated enough, and this is why I wanted to ask it, is that these struggles aren't really a to B point where like you pick something up, and then like there's a before and after, especially with obesity. So talk a little bit about like kind of the ongoing process of compartmentalizing something like an eating disorder or as being somebody who used to be obese.
Yeah, so I still struggle with it. Like even last week, like on my Twitter, I was like not okay. I did have a relapse and I ended up binging. I like, yeah, I don't know what happened. I think I was just running and then like the run did not go well. I've been dealing with some like nagging injury, and like I know like I should be eating to like recover, but I was just like, no, like this is not gonna get better. Like, and then I ate and then I like just binged, and um yeah, so like just taking the time, like I work with a therapist and I'm an advocate for a therapist and speaking to a healthcare professional about this stuff, because yeah, one person can't, like myself and one other person, like you can't do it by yourself. The the mental side of it's gonna always win. Like that's what we try to battle in ultra running, like all the time. It's like not finishing a race or taking that next step. It's the same thing with like the eating disorder or like one more drink or one more puff of something. Yeah, but with the obesity, like it did take a lot, because yeah, I'm very athletic. Like I like getting out my energy and like yeah, I think everyone loves just to like be healthy. Like they should be healthy. Like it's very sad that in American culture, like we eat burgers, we're not very active. Like the general guideline is to get an hour outside, and we're usually at a desk like for 8 hours starting as a kid, and we're just ingrained to work at a desk or yeah. So it's very very built into the system, and I try to like break it by like again trying to be active, um, and yeah, get outside for more than an hour for training.
Yeah, that's a very excellent point that you made about being active and how it's just ingrained into our culture. Um, and so I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about it and be open about it. I wanted to shift gears and talk about something I saw on Phil's Instagram. It's a hashtag that I think.
That's a,
Um,
what?
he's like, oh. But
Let me see.
tell me about show positivity and what that means to you.
So, how it came to be. A few years ago, I was like, what should I do? What should I do in regards to like hashtags or whatever? I'm like, I'm still not much of a hashtag person, but a friend of mine was like, hey, you got to do this. You're always about positivity. You're about adding, positivity to the people around you. So just make it, show positivity as your thing. And I'm like, that's a great idea. And so and I have to be honest, half of it is for me to remind myself what I'm here to do. And so like that's very selfish of me. Like I'm here to be positive. I want to remind myself I'm positive. But the other half is also just share that positivity with others, because I truly believe that you can be your best when you are being positive. And so, I mean, when you look at some of my best races that I've run, I'm smiling and I'm like, this is the best day of my life. I might feel like crap, but I'm like, this is awesome. So I think being positive is a very, very good thing. And instead of looking at it negatively, I mean, like, yes, we are going to have those negative times, especially in a 100-mile race. You're going to have a lot of those. And how to get over it, you got to take what you can in the positive side just a little bit and just, like, at least I'm still moving. You know what? I am. At least I'm moving forward at this pace. Oh, I am. Oh, the next aid station is here. There it is. And you start finding things to be positive about, and all of a sudden you forget about the things that are holding you back, which is the negativity. And so that's why I'm like, show positivity. I mean,
That's awesome. It's the old adage, right? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So, before you get to the next aid station. Mm-hmm. So in those moments, though, because we've all been there, negativity, when we're in the middle of a race. So I asked this of you first, Show. Have you thought about, maybe I should go do a different sport? Maybe I should go ride my bike or go swim instead?
Well, not swim. But usually the question that I come to is why? Like, why did I sign up for this race? Why did I think this was a great idea? And then I start being real about it. I'm like, well, the original idea was for this to happen. I'm like, okay, that's legit. But like, really? And then I start kind of figuring out, and like, ideally, I get to a better place from that. But the negative part is like saying, like, why am I doing this? I trained all this time for nothing. I feel like giving up. I feel like crap. And it's just getting from there to that better place.
So Anthony, I'm going to pose a different question to you, because Show gave some advice. What would you tell somebody who's just getting started in their endurance sports journey and comes across that negativity, whether they're training for their first 5K or their first 100-miler?
Yeah, so it's all about the process. You can't look at the end result and want to just like 0 to 100 or 0 to 5K. Like, you take these baby steps, you incrementally increase your mileage, your training time, time on feet. But yeah, so you're testing all this gear. You just gotta yeah, be consistent, and you just also want to like have this goal. Yeah, I think like, yeah, for those that wanting to get into the sport, um, have a mentor. Like I, me, when I was for myself, like I didn't know anything, so I would just go to the local run club and like shadow someone and just talk with them about what they do, and then I would try it myself, and if it didn't work, then I knew like, okay, this didn't work for me, so I'll try another method. And yeah, it's a lot of trial and error, but you shouldn't give up. No one should give up. It does take hard work, but the reward at the end is like you become this amazing, like very goal-oriented person. And yeah, it's the little steps that you need to look at, and not the big pie. Taking little chunks, um, yeah, make you a successful athlete.
Yeah, I think one of the things that probably ties a lot of athletes, and I'm going to use successful in this sense because if you reach the finish line, you're successful regardless of whether it took you 5 minutes or 5 hours, is that failure isn't terminal, right? It is a building block to success. And so I think one of the things that each one of us can contribute is we've all had those moments where there's been the negative thought. I've got my handful of DNFs, right, where it's just like, I'm done with this, I'm going home type of thing. But that's not the end all be all. So you just keep going back out there and pushing forward and trying to figure out how to take that next step, right? And grow from there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, I mean, I just had my first DNF in like 8 years, and it was like, oh wow, like not everything's like sunshine and rainbows. Like you got to go back to the drawing board. And yeah, no, it's definitely a learning curve, but no, it's a good thing to have failures, because that means you're trying, and and then you still just go out and put yourself out there. No, it's a beautiful thing.
For those of you that are just joining us, my name is Jason Bahamundi. I'm the founder of Run Try Bike, being joined by co-owner Om Gandhi, as well as Topo athletic athletes Show Gray and Anthony Lee. If you have questions for them, we've touched on, DNFing here just quickly. We've touched on inclusivity and diversity in the sport. We've touched on being, raised in Japan and coming here at the age of 17 and what culture looks like. If you've got questions for either Show or Anthony, just type them into the comment section, and we'll make sure we get it out in front of these guys to get that answered for you. Show, I'm going to come back to you. We've talked about a whole bunch of different things. Where do you want to go in terms of your personal goals? What are you looking to accomplish in this sport?
I am in my journey to find what strength is. That's where I'm at. And I'm studying as much as I can. I'm learning from as many people as I can. Doing as much as I can because I'm on my journey for strength. I'm realizing where I'm personally weak at, and figuring out how I can be stronger. And not just in a physical sense, but also in a mental and an emotional sense as well. And especially in the sport, you need a lot of support from all areas. And identifying what needs to be worked on and focusing on bringing it back up, because no matter how many hours you put into running, it's your weakest point that can bring you back down. And so in being able to identify that and work at it to raise that level up allows you to raise yourself as a whole up. And so my journey again is seeking that strength. And the second part of my journey would be just finding the people that are suffering with me in these sports, and finding a place that I belong. Again, in Japan, I'm white. In America, I'm Asian. I don't fit in either places, and so I don't have a place that I call home. I can speak both languages perfectly, but that means nothing when my culture is mixed.
You got a home at Run Try Bike.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, it's finding the same, similar people that are on their journey, and that's where I really enjoy about the ultra running community that like I've gotten into locally, because they've been so wonderful at just saying, hey, just come here, join us. And I'm like, hey guys. And they're like, oh, there's Joe, our local guy. I'm like, hey. So it's been a wonderful journey, and I'm still like, like finding more friends, making more friends, and inviting more people and trying to get more people to be involved in the ultra running world. So yeah, strength and finding, I guess, family.
Awesome. Anthony, I'll pose the same question to you. What are some of your personal goals, and what would you like to see happen within the running community?
Yeah, I think yeah, just keep to grow the sport professionally. I know like we as ultra runners probably don't make the most money, and we probably have a second job besides training and competing. And so yeah, just like want to see the sport grow, but not like in a monopolization where key like groups are just buying up all these races. We can talk more about that. But
I think we're talking about.
yeah. So yeah, no, I think like for me, my journey is like to keep improving and love the sport that I first got into. Like it's not all about, I mean, yes, like results are great, but you have to have fun. And I think like I did lose some joy just like chasing results. And yeah, that also just weighs heavily mentally. So yeah, I'm a big proponent on like, yeah, just growing stronger mentally. And I know like the results would come, but yeah, just like keep working hard and doing stuff in silence when nobody's watching is kind of the cliche. But yeah, work hard in silence and nobody really cares.
I
Like
say that
just
all the time.
yeah. But no, like just have fun. Yeah, like I just want the sport to keep growing and have more people come into it, and just like I'm very big on like sharing the trails with all my friends. Like we love the mountains. Like Colorado's so beautiful. Like I have trails right outside my door. And so yeah, I invite all my friends to go run, or in like a new person to go run. Like I just want you to experience the outdoors.
I think you touched on something inadvertently, and I want to expand on that. So the idea, right, when the audience, right, on social media sees professional athlete, the immediate assumption is that you guys must be making millions and millions of dollars just to run, right? Just to run. And I would ask you to sort of dispel that. Like, what is involved in being a professional athlete? What do you are expected to do in terms of whether it's performance or coming on a podcast like this or showing up at different events? Like, what are some of the requirements that you guys have to do that the public wouldn't think about and then would say to themselves, oh, maybe I don't want to do that then?
Yeah, so I mean, with some of my other sponsors and even Topo, we have like NDAs, but for the most part, there's performance bonuses, like podium bonuses for select races, like Western States, UTMB. And then, yeah, there's a social media component. Like you do have to post about the product, about the shoes. And then, yeah, we have some obligations to be at events, photo shoots, like, yeah. And then also like live podcasts like this or Instagram chats. I do a few like trail clinics. I have a few coming up with like a few brand partners with Topo in the Denver area. So that kind of helps, or that kind of like fits in with the contract. And then, I mean, yeah, we do get products and an allotment of shoes. Um, this year, I know that we were able to get some travel money. We are still a small brand at Topo, but yeah, I was working with a friend, and I would call her kind of like the athlete's agent. But yeah, so she works with a bunch of brand partners, but she helped me like advocate for like asking for a little bit more, but all they like sponsors can say no, you just have to ask.
Right.
And yeah, so we were able to get a little bit more in this contract for all the athletes, which is great. So yeah, it's not like $1 million. Like we still have our everyday, like I have my everyday job. I work right now at a restaurant, but I also was a shoe outfitter, and then yeah, so I just wear many hats. But yeah, I mean, I prioritize training, and yeah, it's a challenge, but it's worthwhile.
And how about for you, Sho? Would you echo that?
I would echo that, and also say that like we also as athletes, not required to, but like because we want the shoes to continue to improve, what we get to do, so the opportunity we have is to provide a lot of feedback and say, hey, this is what I got, this is what I wore for the race, and this is how I felt over here. Like, for example, like I recently ran the Pistol 100 a week and a half ago, and I was wearing a specific pair of shoes, and I'm like, okay, so this is what I felt over here, and this was the good parts, this was what I didn't like about it through the whole race, and obviously they're not going to make everything perfect for me, but they're going to take the feedback that we as professional athletes give them and say, hey, this is important. We need to put that in the the doc and say, hey, this is something we got to look at. And is this going to replace something, or is it going to change the shoe to a totally different thing, or are we going to actually utilize it? And so we give them the the information that they desperately want. And from our perspective, it's about performance. From their perspective, it's performance as well as keeping it true to the brand. And so we kind of have this like beautiful teamwork that makes the shoes the way that they are. And so, I mean, that's what I would like to add on top of that.
Yeah, Sho, great point there. Also, Sho did win this 100-miler last week, so he's in recovery.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Was that Pistol 100?
Yeah, that was a Pistol 100.
For sure.
Where does that take place?
Say that again?
Where does the event take place?
In Alcoa, Tennessee. So, hometown advantage.
So you're going to be going through recovery, but do you have another race lined up post-recovery?
Actually, yeah, because the two athletes you can see right here, we're going to go to Japan.
Yes.
And we're going to be running I guess it used to be called UTMF 100, but now they're changing it to Fuji 100.
Yeah.
For copyright reasons. But yeah, we're both going to go over there, and we're going to have a great time.
That's awesome. When is the event?
It's April 21st, was it?
Yeah, 21st of April.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting them all in together, because I'm racing Canyons 100, which is on the 28th here in California.
So super. Are you doing the 100 or the 100K?
The 100 mile. Yeah.
Nice.
100.
Awesome. I did the 100K last year. It's gonna be a wet snow year.
Yeah. I saw Western States put out a tweet a couple of weeks ago, and they're like, hey, just so you know, there's going to be snow on the course. And I'm like, Western States is a full month after Kansas. There's definitely going to be snow.
Like, yeah, it's crazy. It's going to be so high.
Any advice? When I did Western States, there was some snow that we had to run through, but it wasn't throughout the entire course. Just on the once we peaked, it basically was all gone.
Olympic Valley.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, last year it snowed like 2 days before the event, and then it kind of all melted, and there were motorcycle tracks that were just bogged with ice water towards the last 4 miles. But I think you'll get quite a bit of snowpack. Yeah, I hope they really flag it well. I mean, they usually do, but again, like, you probably won't see most of the trail, honestly. Yeah.
That sucks, because I'm generally directionally challenged, even though I'm an ultra runner. So, but
I would program the GPX onto the watch if you have that capability.
Every event ever since I've gotten lost has been that, and that's been the advice I give to everyone. I'm like,
GPX track.
put it on your device, and then you'll be fine from there.
Yeah. yeah, I've had my fair share of getting lost and leading a race and then people following me 10, 15 miles off track. So it's not good.
So we have a question from the audience, Iron Sunshine 12, and Anthony, I'll start with you. The question is, what does your nutrition look like running that far? So what are you fueling yourself with during a 100-mile event?
Yeah, so I'm a real food, like I love real food. I use Spring Energy as my gels, and they're amazing drink mixes. But then I'm also supplementing with also like quesadillas, ramen, soup at aid stations. And then, yeah, that's kind of my go-to.
Show for you?
I like to start solid and then go liquid as the race goes on. So the solid for the last race I did was onigiri, which is a rice ball. But inside the rice ball, I had a tuna, mayonnaise, a little bit of soy sauce, and some rice vinegar. And so and the nori that surrounds it. And so I would have that. And I would also have mashed potatoes if possible, or I had a cup ramen, a curry cup ramen. I'm like, that's gonna be my emotional support food, and so I had that like mile 70 of the race, and it was awesome. So start solid, go liquid.
As a person who's done both Ironman and ultra trail running, anybody who's listening to this, just go right to the ultra trail running because you get to eat food like Sho just described.
Yeah.
Ironman distance, you're just trying to slug down as much Gatorade as possible and nothing else, right? So definitely go to the ultras, run the trails, get the buffets while you're out there, and enjoy your time out in the woods.
Yeah, get the sugar rush. You can eat candy.
Oh yeah, get your M&Ms.
Yeah, no, I'm all about feasting.
M&Ms, peanut or plain?
Oh, peanut.
I have way too much peanut butter. See, I have peanut butter, and I don't need any more.
Wow, that's right next to you.
I mean, yeah, that and honey, but.
Dang.
Adina, I agree with you. You do get to swim, and yes, you can definitely have some real food during an Ironman event. Thanks for appreciate the commentary. We sort of just got right into the rapid fire, but before we do, is there anything that you guys want to discuss before we jump into those rapid fire questions and put a little bit more levity into the conversation?
I'll just jump right in. I want to say something. If anybody's interested, I mean, the ultra running community has open arms. If you have, even if it's just questions, ask. Ultra running community is awesome. So if anybody's interested in joining us or just anything, just talk to us, and we're more than happy to have you as part of the family.
Well said.
Yeah. 100%. Very well said. Our vision and mission at Run Try Bike is to prove that there is a spot at the starting line for everybody, and everybody is welcome. So come and join us. So we answered the question. Well, you guys answered it wrong by saying get that out of the way first.
So they answered it right. What are you talking about?
If the company ever goes under, it's going to be because somebody wanted pineapple on pizza at the company event. I could see.
I don't understand how I'm a co-owner.
So with that one out of the way, Joe, we'll come to you first.
Okay.
Is candy corn a real candy, or is it just earwax covered in sugar?
Why are you giving me a hard question?
Oh, no.
It's a candy, an American candy.
Oh.
Anthony, are you a candy corn fan?
I'm not.
Good.
I despise it. Yeah.
Yeah, you've redeemed your time.
It just gets like stuck in your teeth, and yeah, it does not taste good. Does. Yeah, it's like earwax, like you said.
What about? Are you a fan of Peeps, or are they just marshmallows covered in dust?
Yeah, those are definitely marshmallows covered in dust. They just like dissolve like instantly. It's not a pretty sight.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's just disintegrates. Yeah.
Show package next to your peanut butter and honey over there.
I don't have Peeps there. Peeps are for microwaves only. You just put it in and you look at it and go, whoa! It's experiment.
The science experiment. Yeah.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with food.
Wait, Jason, that goes back to one of our other people, Kim, who said peep jousting.
Yes,
We
peep
have
joust.
peep jousting connection.
I think the idea was you put toothpicks in their beaks, and then you put them in the microwave, and when they expand, the toothpicks.
Oh,
Wow.
you have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You'll have to record it and share it with us.
I
Then.
will. I will.
Yeah.
I have to now.
And the guy who developed Peeps, invented Peeps, recently just passed about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
94. Yeah.
Wow.
Are you good? Show, are you a fan of licorice?
no.
No, Anthony.
Red vines.
Red.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
do you put vines over Twizzlers then?
Yeah, I'm a red vines over Twizzlers. My partner is a Twizzlers connoisseur.
Gotcha.
Which yeah.
So, Anthony, red velvet, is that a real flavor or is it just chocolate cake with red dye?
It's just chocolate cake with red dye.
Yeah, truth.
Yeah. Oh, it's so bad.
Most people just love the cream cheese, the butter, butter cream cheese, which you could get on a really good piece of carrot cake. Like, you don't have to fake yourself out into thinking you're eating red velvet. Like,
oh my gosh, I am such a fan of carrot cake. It's like my girlfriend makes it for me for my birthday every year. It's the one thing.
do you put raisins in your carrot cake?
I don't, sadly. We do fig jam and like almonds for like a textural component. Yeah.
Yeah, try that. It adds a little bit of sweetness plus some texture in there too.
Mhm.
Show, are you a carrot cake fan?
I really don't eat cakes or dessert much. Like in Japan, it's like not common, I guess. We eat a lot of like little salty snacks or something like that. But like when I came to America, the sweets were a whole new level. That's why I was like, I don't know how to answer this candy corn question because it's like very different. But like, yeah, no, I'm a boring person. I'm just like, I eat my meals and dessert is like a banana or an apple or something like
Oh.
that.
Oh gosh, you're missing out. You don't even have like those rolls like with the cream inside. Like they're like a Japanese kind of.
We do have that,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, try eating a Japanese one and an American one, and then you eat a Japanese one, it's like, that's great. American one, sweet.
Yeah, that's true. I can't wait for the Japanese sweets when we're over there.
Okay, I'll be a tour guide for you then.
Amazing.
We need to make you guys get some post-recovery pictures of the sweets and the foods that you're eating. Like, we need a whole diary.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
There will be like like takoyaki, fried octopus balls, like fried chicken, like karage, and
God, it's so good.
we're gonna have like udon and ramen, like, and okonomiyaki, like just comfort food. So yeah, it's just gonna be just bringing me to all the good spots.
Jason, we're dedicating a page just exclusively to, and we're calling it Recovery Diary, and it's just going to be people sending their recovery food.
Let me put that as a note now so we don't forget. Recovery diary. That's a perfect topic for us.
Yeah,
Do that.
that would be a hit.
Between ultra runners at 100-mile recovery food and Ironman distance recovery food, because I'll use myself personally. Ironman is about 12 hours. 100 miles, the fastest I've done is 19 hours, somewhere up to 28, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to be looking for different things and in different quantities because of the different times. So that'll be cool to see that the difference between triathletes and runners and even swimmers, marathon swimmers too, in their terms of recovery food. Are either of you guys barbecue fans?
Yeah, I love barbecue. As a kid,
Like Korean barbecue or American barbecue?
We could throw that in there too, because the question is, which do you prefer when it comes to barbecue? Texas style, St. Louis style, Memphis style? Now we throw Korean in there.
I'll bet Korean 100%.
Okay, yeah, it's like Korean versus Texas, but I'll also say Korean. Yeah, I just I was down in Austin, so yeah, I just had some Texas barbecue.
Oreos, do you like the original variety or double stuff?
The double stuff is not fully double stuff, did you know?
The more important question is, do you like the cookie or the cream?
All of it. It's like Oreos are like asprin,
Let
right?
me
You
tell
just
you
put
a quick story, okay? For
Oh,
April
yeah.
Fool's Day, a friend of mine decided to give me Oreos with just white, like flour, water, powder, whatever. Like they powdered it up and put the flour with the water and put it between that. I gleefully ate it and was like, "Oh, this is the most delicious thing ever," because I'm such a cookie guy.
Oh, I'm a big Oreo fan, Jason. Yeah, I could eat like I'll probably eat like a whole row like once I buy the pack. Like it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Me
then I'm running it off.
that package doesn't last more than 2 or 3 days in this house.
Hmm.
It lasts 2 or 3 days for you? It doesn't last one for me. That's why there are no packs in my house.
Yeah.
I am an original though. Like, so again, I told you guys I teach marketing, and we just talked about Howard Moskowitz, who developed the horizontal segmentation, right? So his whole theory was you don't create the perfect Pepsi, you create the perfect Pepsis. And that's why we see all of these different varieties of Oreos. And it just drives me nuts because it's like, it was already perfect.
Hmm.
Why would you try to perfect perfectionism? It already
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like the other flavors like peppermint or peanut butter or
I'm
even
just
like
OG.
yeah. They make like the Oreo sticks like where you can slurp like milk out of.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck? Just dip it in. Like people are so lazy. Yeah.
We got from Izzy here for you too. What's your favorite Pop-Tart flavor?
Oof. Pop-Tart flavor. I think I'm like brown sugar.
Brown
Oh,
sugar?
yeah, same.
Yeah. Hmm.
Something with chocolate in it.
Show's trying to figure out what the savory Pop-Tart flavor would be since he's not the dessert guy.
There is this
I'm like, I only eat it if I go to my sister's house or I pass by the aisle. I'm like, oh, that'd be nice. But nope.
there is a like pretzel and sea salt one I think you'd like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there for sure.
But it's not a Pop-Tart Pop-Tart.
Well, guys, we have taken up so much of your time, and we cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much for joining us. Wish you both the best at the UTMB Mount Fuji coming up on April 21st. You said it was.
Not part of UTMB.
What's that?
It's not
Oh.
part of UTMB. That's the whole
UTMF.
copyright.
Ah.
Yeah, they're suing or they're pursuing lawful for the Ultra Trail part.
Now it
So yeah. But yeah, Ultra Trail Mount Fuji or Fuji 100. Yeah.
awesome. Well, good luck to you guys both out there. We look forward to following and reaching back out to you guys post race to see how it all went.
Thank you. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks, yeah, thank you for having us. And thanks, Topo, for sponsoring us.
Perfect. That's a perfect edit to the reel. We'll get it in there. Have a great night, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, peace
You
and
too.
love.